Welcome to Around the Blockchain. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, Jakub, welcome back to Around the Blockchain. We had you on obviously last year at some point. So yeah, welcome back. It's good to have you back. How have things been with obviously AEM Algorithm? You guys are obviously quite busy, I hear.
Yeah, hi Ryan. Thanks for having me again. It's been a pleasure the last time to take part, and again, I'm really glad to come in again to just give an update. So in terms of how we've been busy with expanding our platform, adding features. It's all centering on the fact that we got a lot more users now, specific segments coming through of who's using this our crypto accounting solution, like it's specific to business, and we see what's happening in the space. And apart from this, as I mentioned to you, we actually even raising capital in line with this, in line with the demand and the workload we have. And yeah, just wanted to announce quite a few features that we're doing and the exciting things that have been done in the last few months.
Awesome. Sounds like you've obviously been quite busy and had your head down and yeah, working quite diligently. Talk to me a little bit about your client base at the moment. Obviously, you've had an uptick in clients and that sort of thing. Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that, and I guess their backgrounds as well. What particular part of crypto they're after, that they sort of need help with, and where they're kind of coming from.
Yeah, so we've actually started doing some thorough analysis on this, and that's the cool thing. I'm the financial analyst guy, so I actually really like getting stuck into charts and some stats. So after diving deeper into who's using us, I can say that we got sorry, I'm gonna actually turn off my Slack that's making sounds.
That's okay.
We've got a big segment of DeFi users. And I would still say it's the biggest. We've seen a uptick in a lot of NFT clients coming through. And we've had gamify clients for a while, and future wise there's more and more metaverse talk, and another emerging trend, because our platform is a lot more capable these days. We got high volume traders or actually like people running even algorithms and things that have loads of transactions. Like we got people coming to me, which again we've been literally testing last night, saying, hey, I want to push 1 million transactions into this, and I want to just get it into my accounting system. So it's spread quite wide. But what I can tell you as well, what is the cool thing, we don't just deal with someone who's in DeFi. Like we deal with someone who might be the actual provider of the solution. Same as with the NFTs, it's not someone who's buying the NFTs, it's someone who's actually creating the NFTs, and they're dealing with the volume of those. So that's kind of the overview of who's been with us.
Yeah, wow, very interesting. The play to earn gaming space and the metaverse of the gaming space is very interesting. I think it's quite an emerging sort of niche market within the crypto space itself. So I find that quite interesting that you're having people already come to you now, needing help with keeping track of some of these transactions, and that volume amount that you mentioned, that 1 million transactions is quite a lot. Yeah, that's not a not a small amount.
It is, but that's what we have to be ready for. And I'm talking per user, per individual. So that goes back on why we're so busy. Like we've been improving our infrastructure, moving to a more scalable cloud solution, and there's lots of stuff going on there. Then again, to just dive into the gamify thing, it's not that it just emerged now. Like we've had people come in a while ago. And again, to explain you how this is evolving, I'm seeing a lot of people who are new businesses or new projects, and they come to us from day one or ahead of time. They go to us and go, hey, we need an accounting solution. And then again, to give you insight, which is interesting, because people think crypto accounting is tax. It's not really tax, because I actually deal with people who don't pay tax as well. So they just want to stay on top of their reporting, because some of them are located somewhere where tax is not relevant, or maybe that entity is just operating in a way that the tax is not subject to it. Again, that might be only 20 or 30% of our users, because I still see standard businesses coming through the standard business model. In Australia would be a PTY Ltd entity or limited entity from another place. But it's interesting to see that. So definitely one thing I want to say, this is not about tax. This is about accounting and people just needing to stay on top of it and having a good flow through from blockchain into a system.
Yeah, that's awesome. Normally, keeping track of these sorts of things is difficult. I think I've worked with a few projects that have basically just kept track of everything on an Excel spreadsheet, and it gets very messy very quickly. So obviously it's good to kind of hear about projects that are coming to you ahead of time and just wanting to keep track and obviously on top of reporting.
It does. And I over and over get into this conversation where I talk to, let's say, investors or anyone interested in what we do and why we do it. But you can just take it to the Excel spreadsheet. The problem with it is you can make a mistake, and that's what you're trying to avoid. You're going to be tired working through the stuff, creating columns and doing other things and copying and pasting. So it costs money, creates errors, and people have to check over and over, and it's just inefficient. And we've been on it since 2018. So we like this very slow paced project where it's now accelerating a lot. There's a lot of know-how in what we did since then, but it just comes down to that, like the manual handling has to go, and that's what we're trying to do.
No, very good. Making things a lot easier for people to keep track of. So look, talk to me a little bit about some of the updates you guys have got coming up as well. I believe you've got a mobile app coming pretty soon, and there's obviously a couple of other sort of updates in the background.
Definitely. So the significant ones are the big ones, which I'll leave to one after the mobile app. So the mobile app's interesting because I want to say a story about this. When we were less busy throughout the years, we started kind of scoping this mobile app, and it's still work in progress. It's actually a free product. It's a complementary thing that we offer. Eventually, it will turn into a paid app, and it's a C2B wallet. So what I mean by C2B wallet, all crypto wallets right now, they're not business centric, and where we now narrow it down, it's getting more and more into the invoicing side of things, where you may want to be invoicing large amounts of charges to clients, and likewise you want to be able to doing a large amount of payments to, well, sometimes people call it payroll. However, where we are at now at this point is, as you said, it's a mobile app. So we've only identified now that we want to actually move this to a browser and start doing deeper things. So I think over the next 12 months, it'll be quite interesting what we end up doing, because we now know exactly where this is heading. But with its current status, it's already live as a mobile app. It still is just a mobile wallet, lets you do a single off invoice, which is still quite savvy, because you could quickly say, hey, I want to send someone $100 bill for something. Let's say I've did an interview with somebody, or I did something else that was a paid service, and you could just do it. So it's more just play with it type thing, but we're just exploring. And we're also exploring multi-sig, which again will be relevant to business. And on the deeper side as well, with what we're doing with RMIT. So we partners with RMIT Blockchain Hub since ages ago. Now it's been 2019 when we first started talking. So we want to eventually merge it with our DeFi module for web browser. And it would be cool if we went into the direction a bit like MetaMask, although we don't have that capacity yet, but it will do some similar things to it. And that's the cool techie stuff we're doing on the side. And with the big updates on the product, so as mentioned, we've been working a while with Zero. We nearly done integrating QuickBooks. QuickBooks will be a cool one too, because every time we do this, we actually build prototypes with a different team. So we've built a slightly different logic around how we're going to export data into QuickBooks. We have like a simplified interface, and then we're going to go into advanced interface. So we're getting into that mode of doing another integration. Then from there, we could do another system one day, let's say MyOb, and hopefully do it faster and faster. And finally, which I left probably the best to last, just way more chain integrations. So this is where we got our work cut out. We're doing a lot on it. just going through things like Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Avalanche, Phantom, like you name it. I have like Filecoin kind of, sometimes checking in with us, although they're not really in that space yet for business or others. So there's going to be an ongoing process to build live integrations, because currently the way we do it, we do offer it, but it's a manual import for any chains that we don't do direct blockchain connection, but we're trying to change that quickly.
Yeah, wow, lots to unpack and discuss there. The one that probably caught my attention, actually the three major ones were probably the integration with QuickBooks. That's a big thing. The other thing as well, so DeFi integration. So potentially at some stage integrating with MetaMask and that sort of stuff. That itself could be, quite a handy thing to be able to offer people, because I know that that's a difficult service to provide at the current sort of stage of the market, I guess.
So it's good you're asking this, because that's something we are running out, and it's going to take longer. It comes down to security. The reason we gone to a mobile app, we don't hold anyone's keys, we don't hold custody of anything else. So yeah, cross integration with then things that could be in a browser, which for instance, MetaMask is there. It could work too, especially on the, let's say, some settlement sites, but it is further down the track. So we are exploring it. We are a bit early, but back to why we're raising money right now. Like, we got solid goals at this point to reach, and we're just finding there's just more and more work, and we're trying to do the work quicker based on the requests we're getting. And it's an exciting time, having to explore all those opportunities.
Yeah, sounds very exciting. Also, the multi-chain integration is another awesome tool. Again, not a lot of these sort of like record keeping sort of products like you're offering with obviously AEM Algorithm offer a broad range of different chains that you can kind of derive data from and keep records of. How are you guys kind of facilitating that? I could imagine that would be a pretty difficult thing to kind of accomplish and do successfully.
So I can tell you, well, I can give the know-how on how to do it quick, because it's kind of no secret. You can go through blockchain explorers. I recently was on a podcast last week with someone who said we do it for blockchain explorers, but really there's a much better way to do it as well, and something we again really want to explore with our MIT in next semester's projects, where we always wanted to build the nodes ourselves and build like our own microservices around setting up our own infrastructure. I'm a visionary type, so I know I'm kind of early, but at the same time, I'm probably not that early with those solutions. And where we're really exploring, like, we even trying to see if we can run things like Ethereum 2 nodes, given Ethereum's going to migrate, could we run them ourselves as opposed to using someone else's service? So back to your question, how it's done. Blockchain Explorer is easy. They give you APIs, you pay them money. But the difficult part is they're going to start charging more and more and more once you have more and more transactions. And I'm already showing you, like, I've literally have people asking me, like, setting a benchmark around 1 million transactions a day, which is quite normal for some users. So we now at the technical side of things going, we definitely going to go deep out with this. And again, that's where part of the funding is going to go to. But with all those solutions that we're doing, like I having done this project, I realized that we've covered off so many different grounds that they are almost their own products in their own sense. Like it's quite exciting.
Yeah, very. And the capital raise that you're obviously looking for as well. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Maybe if you can't obviously disclose who you're speaking with, that's fine. But why you're looking to do that. Obviously, the business itself is expanding. You need some more cash to kind of.
So to not talk about the financial side, I think I'll talk about the partner side.
Perfect.
What we've matured is that now the conversation we're having is with people that want to partner with us because of common goals. So let's say they're in a, exchanges space, or they're in the accounting consulting space, where effectively we can hit common goals by teaming up. So investment would mean they help us, we help them. There's a common goal to reach. People can already see it. And then on the other side, of course, there's just this trend happening, which is an interesting thing with the market. You'd think it's a bad time to raise. I felt that too. But because there's so much uncertainty, there's obviously interested parties to invest, because businesses that are well established and are clear in their goals, especially in the crypto space, are a safe bet. Whereas I could show bad examples of projects that crashed recently, which were all focused on the tokens. So I think people are starting to appreciate projects that are all about the other side of things, being compliance, accounting, making processes better. And we're just engaging investors in that space as well, who are more significant, but they can see the long-term benefit, and it's just, you know, easier for them to, let's say, invest in us rather than put something in a stable pool where you don't really know if that stable pool is going to be safe or not. And, you know, I could go on the topic there, but that's basically kind of the spread of who we got talking to us.
Awesome. Are you potentially referring to the Luna fiasco when you?
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. Yeah. Exactly. But I can again go to a topic on that, like why accounting is important. So
Please do.
I sometimes give that example too. Like when we providing the service of taking the data, capturing it, and sending it out to zero, you'd think you can take a stable coin and take an exchange rate anywhere because it's US dollar. But as we've seen, there's been a horrible example with UST. But even USDT becomes depegged sometimes. So even for stables, you actually have to track them correctly, so that if someone's tracking their position and what they exchange that, it's done correctly. So if you depeg by 5%, it might be actually a significant difference if you're doing a big transfer. And of course, I'm not talking about the depeg that's gone down 90%, but you just never know. But that's why we want visibility. So that's again why accounting is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very interesting situation with Luna. I don't think we'd seen something of that, magnitude happen before. Obviously, crypto is very volatile, but I think as a singular example, that probably is the one that runs front of mind, at least for me. That was, obviously quite impactful and pretty devastating for a lot of people. I don't know if you've spoken to anyone that's been impacted themselves by it, but yeah, it didn't seem like a great scenario to be caught up in if you were caught up in it.
Look, I'm really into the space, so I always check the projects, and I can tell you the ripple effect's been right across. You think it's just been the Luna, even the DeFi ecosystem and anything else, but no, you had UST pegs happening even on other chains, because you have wrapped tokens on other chains as well. So it completely crushed other tokens. And to express my opinion on this, that's why regulation is so important, because where I'm still scratching my head, they're relaunching the chain now. And now talking again, we're gonna just relaunch the stable coin. But what happened to just what was there before? So the space is still, it needs to give people reassurance and confidence. But one thing I can say, having seen the number of people come to us and use us, and how it's all evolving, and there's businesses working on this and using accounting solutions, there's a lot of solid projects out there. And I think it will just, the shift is starting. And I think I never expected Luna. Like I didn't see that coming. No one did. Things like that may happen, but also you see that the space rebounds. Things just, it's business as usual for other chains. But it is still a volatile space, and you just have to be careful.
Yeah, you really do. You have to do your homework. I think you're right, though, in saying that, I don't think a lot of people would have predicted what happened to Luna to happen. Obviously, Luna was one of the, top projects. And I've heard a lot of people talk about it and how sort of they were very optimistic about its future and what was kind of happening there in that particular space. And yeah, I would be hard pressed to find someone that could have predicted what was going to happen.
I can give you a bit of a insight of what we do. Like because we got this uni side with us, and we explore things. this hypothetical project we looked at as well. Like we've considered swaps and things that could happen, let's say on the topic of the mobile app, if we could ever do that. So we've even done a study with a buddy of mine who's actually working with us. His name's Anuk. A lot of people know him. Like Anuk's done a lot of analysis in that space too, around how, and I don't want to say things that may be inaccurate, so I'll just say a little bit, but we've in fact done a study before on how you do this algorithmic pegging on high level. And one thing, in my opinion, is what's risky if you're pegging everything against crypto. Like unless there's a stable element with external sort of asset holdings, it just becomes tricky. But of course, again, that's a whole can of worms if I go that way, because then you could talk about Tether and how they only have 3% of actual cash in holdings, and everything else is like everything else that would represent cash. So there's doubts. I think the stables are exciting, and I would say one more thing about it. What I've seen with the business, so I've seen all sides of it. People tend to go for the safe bets with business transactions like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then stables. And stable coins are actually a big trend in business that I've seen earlier this year. So I'll be interested to see if people will change from transacting on stable a bit more, be a bit more cautious. But yeah, time will tell.
What do you think about stable coins? Obviously, like you've just said, people will do business transactions, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then other stable coins. Do you think, like, there seems to be a lot of chat about introducing some kind of stable coin that's actually regulated, in a few different jurisdictions? Where do you kind of see the stablecoin space going? Do you think that that's a good thing to have it regulated, or do you think it should still be?
Well, it's a double-edged sword, but I think it's important, because having all stables in hands of projects that just came about coming up with a solution and then not being properly regulated, there's a risk. So you need to have an option to have a stable, but of course there are questionable stables that we've seen over the years, like Petro coming from South America and other things. So there's definitely room for it. And what I then mean about this being a double-edged sword, what it may do, it can really start constraining and controlling everyone else, because if you're starting to really closely operate like someone like a DeFi project working closely to a government regulated stable coin, then this whole KYC regulation comes in and everything else. It can just stall the end of innovation. And even there's been already I followed it was a couple of months ago when Europe said technically all wallet addresses could be KYC'd, like period. And firstly, I'm even in doubt how they're going to do it. But secondly, with that being them trying it, it could just stunt growth. And I think the big thing about crypto is that it gives the people without access to bank accounts, access to actual money movement, which is quite important.
Yeah, very. I find that statement quite interesting. How are you going to KYC something that's completely decentralized? Like, there's no name attached to a Bitcoin wallet. There's no name attached to a MetaMask wallet itself. So I would find that statement, maybe to probably sort of just invoke a little bit of fear or something like that into people that are trying to get into this space, to think that eventually that's what they're going to try and do. Because if you're saying that, well, come up with a way for that to happen, because I don't know one, and I don't think anyone in the crypto space that actually delves in the DeFi space itself, or obviously in the Bitcoin space, is going to be able to give you an answer.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're trying just to give a warning and deter anyone who's still worried about it, which, well, it's still important for government to play their role, because some people said this Wild West thing about crypto, and yeah, it's true, it can't be like that. But another thing I was going to say, with regulation, sorry, I think I lost my thought there. But yeah, it's the whole KYC aspect is just that's a whole different side of things. So we'll just see how that goes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens in the months and years to come. I think this year itself, 2022, is going to be an interesting year for crypto. Yeah. On a bunch of different levels, but I think KYC and regulation will be one of those things we sort of start to hear more and more about. I know
Well,
that. Sorry, you
yeah,
go.
I remember what I was going to say. So that's another emerging trend I've been seeing, which has actually been cool. Like that's how I stay up to date with latest developments. So we've seen quite a bit of an uptick of people using XPub wallets on Bitcoin. What these are, they actually let you mix the addresses every time you send funds. And I've actually been always a big fan of privacy coins, which again, the reason I'm talking about it, I feel there's sometimes a bit too much killing off of those projects where they block them on exchanges and in other ways, because they did used to have a bad rap, like things like Monero being, supposedly used by criminals a lot and others. But I think privacy coins have a good use case. And the reason I say it, businesses don't want people to see how much they hold in their wallets. Like that's the bottom line. So again, KYC is one thing, identifying people, for what they do, it's important. But with the whole blockchain being public as well, like I just think like it's actually, there's a lot of algorithms going around now about tracking and tracing. So I don't think there's a need to go that heavy on it, as long as there's improvement on tracking of stolen funds and things that occur, or projects that unfortunately been crushed and rug pulled and other things. So there are some wild things still happening there. But again, back to business side, yeah, we're seeing all the stable things that happen, and people that just want to report and record what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, what's next for you guys, and what does the rest of 2022 look like for AEM Algorithm?
Yeah, so the key thing that we're doing, and I'm literally maybe even gonna grab my my roadmap, because I was recently looking at it. So okay, I'm just gonna read through it. So what we're trying to do, we're focusing a bit more on the tax side. There's been some cool conversations in the space we've been having. I can't really say yet who's talking to us, but it's pretty exciting. To explain it, we have people who use us for business transactions, and then we have people who would use common products for crypto tax calculations. Well, I can give examples by names because everyone knows what is there, like Coinly, crypto tax calculator, and other things. So we're getting requests in that space to go, can you guys actually do better tax reporting for us? And also secondary is direct exchange integrations. So given the race goes well, and we can dedicate a lot more budget, we want to build some direct chain integrations, although we've covered it off quite well with file importer, just because there's just no other similar solutions to what we do. In addition to that, we'll be really diving more into the wallet and building out the invoicing side, but that's really the end of the year, beginning of next year. And we're gonna try and accelerate across different regions. So I think QuickBooks is an interesting example of, in Australia, we think Xero is the project and the accounting system to use. North America is quite heavy on QuickBooks. Will be actually interesting to engage users there and see how they operate with crypto, and I'll get a lot more insight of businesses in that continent. And then finally, perhaps another one to note will be, I think I actually did say all of it, sorry. So yeah, just shuffling things around more than anything, and then cross integrating. If we can actually cross integrate the mobile apps with the cloud platform that goes into Xero, that would be massive. But can we do it this year? We'll see. If not, we'll be early next year.
Yeah, beautiful. Some exciting things in the pipeline. So
yeah,
looking forward to watching from afar and seeing how you guys go. Look, I wanted to start a new tradition on this podcast, and I basically wanted to get a question from one guest, so from yourself, and pass that question on to a guest who is coming on next to the podcast. So for yourself, I've actually got a question here from somebody. I just shot it out to a couple of friends and they've come up with a question. And then before you leave, I'll get a question from yourself, which I'll impart onto the next guest. But the question I have for you is, where do you see the crypto space going in 2022? And do you think we'll reach some form of mainstream adoption by the end of the decade?
So I think the NFTs will get better, like will start coming through more clearly what makes sense, what doesn't. Gamify, that's a strong one for me. Metaverse is interesting. I think it will start maturing as well. So this will be my highlights. There's a lot more other things I'd say, and just in terms of the whole market sentiment and what's happening, yeah, that's a bear market, and we'll go for a while. We've seen it before. Then the question about you said, is it going to go big by the end of the decade? I mean,
Correct.
yeah, so where we are now, 2022. Yeah, look, we've actually done a lot of analysis ourselves because we have to do it with the product we have in place just to see where we can go and how successful this is going to be. So I think the peak for Bitcoin, for instance, should be in about 5 years' time. It's just our own analysis. Don't quote me on it, but I think that's it. Ethereum, and I actually think Bitcoin, Ethereum is just a start. So I think that's when we're already seeing it, the layer 1, layer 2 protocols coming through. I think this is going to be a lot more than Bitcoin and Ethereum then. And yeah, it's going to be, I can't say it how, but I know it will be a permanent part. And the reason I can say it, in 2019, when I, not sorry, 2020, when I spoke to someone like Zero, who were very reluctant about crypto, conversations completely changed now, and Zero QuickBooks and so on, everyone's seeing it. So I just know it will just become part of the system to have crypto accounting in there, and being at a normal element. It will become less of a daunting thing. It will just become embedded somewhere. It's not like fiat will go away, but that's what's going to happen.
Awesome. Jakub, look, thank you so much for your time today. It's great to catch up with you again and to hear all the wonderful things that are going on at AEM Algorithm.